Greetings, Boris and Ghouls. Dr. Von Mad here, and today I would like to discuss on Von Mad's Venom, the Electoral College. Oh, those Democrats, they want slavery so bad. They've been angry ever since the slaves were freed in 1865. Now, they seek to turn the entirety of the North American continent into a plantation, with their big cities as the masters and all the rural states as slaves, providing nothing more than resources and manpower, with no say whatsoever in their own fates. That's what abolishing the Electoral College will do. All the power would be concentrated in the cities and in about 5 states. Therefore, states like Tennessee, Kentucky, other states would have no say. Oh, and they don't stop there. No. They want to lower the voting age to 16. It's interesting that they wanted to raise the age of gun ownership to 18 because 16-year-olds weren't mature enough. Now they want to lower the voting age to 16 for people who they already said were not mature enough to own a gun. Moreover, there's something more insidious at work with that. If they can lower the age of voting to 16, is it a big stretch for them to lower the age of consent to 16? Mark my words, this is a move by the perverts that are in that deep state. Now, you follow that up with them some of these states saying they want to throw their electoral votes behind whoever gets the popular vote. Well, the problem here is what if the state didn't vote that way? Now they're saying the electoral, that the people in their own state, their votes don't matter. These people are just after power. They want that slavery. They want their slaves back so bad. They're trying to import them from the south of the border. They are trying to enslave the people that are here. They're trying to get a whole generation full of voter slaves in the ghettos and in the poorer parts of the country, and now they're trying to bring in people who don't have enough life experiences to know the difference. And they keep promising them free stuff. Kind of like the cheese on a rat trap. So yeah, they're no different than the slave owners of the 1850s. Back then, they wanted to include the slaves as people when it came time for counting population so they could get more votes. Same way they're trying to farm them now. Trying to farm illegal immigrants now. It's the same tactic. The Democrats never come up with anything new. But they didn't want to count them as far as taxation. They didn't want to count them as far as human rights. And same thing here. They just want them for their votes. Why do you think it is that these areas like Chicago has so much black on black crime? It's because of the fact that once they've got their votes, they don't care what happens to them. They don't care what happens to minorities or gays or anything else. They support Islam because Christians don't fight back. And they're afraid of Islam, but they're also willing to use it as a human battering ram to push their foot through their ideas. They're no more different than the slave owners. They want that slavery back. They want that plantation back so bad they can taste it. They're willing to shut down any kind of dissenting voice. They are willing to attack people. They're willing to lie about people. They're willing, it's like Kamala Harris getting all bent out of shape because Mike Pence won't be seen alone with a woman. That's not his wife. Why? What is she so upset about? Was she planning to try to scandalize him? Was she planning to try to set him up and entrap him? Probably. So, what was she afraid of? And that gets us to the shooting in New Zealand. Somebody actually leaked a video of this, and I don't know how much of it to believe, but from what I saw, because I actually saw a part of this, the guy doing the shooting appears to have been extremely calm. He didn't stop to admire his handiwork. He didn't spray bullets every which way. He was methodical. Somebody trained this guy. And now No, are they playing the Muslim call to prayer on the radios in New Zealand, wearing hijabs and taking away people's right to keep and bear arms. This was orchestrated. Mark my words. Just like most of these shootings, I believe there's a common hand behind it. If you'll notice, it's always the same weapon, or a similar weapon, the AR-15. It is always a place that's a gun-free zone. And they immediately go for trying to blame our side, and barring that, they go for the emotion card. Now, you really want to look it up, go see who that is, find out who it is that's doing that. Because there's a common hand behind it, I'm almost certain. So, yeah, just remember, every time you see a Democrat up there calling for the abolition of the Electoral College, or calling for a free wage for all, he's basically Bernie Sanders is basically trying to escort you into your slave quarters. When they say abolish the Electoral College, Kansas, Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana, they're telling us our votes don't matter. They want the big cultural urban centers of power to have lordship over us, and all we're good for is basically slaving away to feed their cities. So, just remember that. I want that burned into your heads. Democracy here, it is not. Democracy says everybody has a say. Under what they're talking about is the cities have a say and the rest of us are overrode. That's why we're a republic, not a democracy. Because we're not a mob rule. What they're wanting is mob rule, which is basically overlording the rest of us. They want that plantation back on a national scale. So, keep that in mind. If you don't see anything good in the news, it's probably because the news is sold out. I mean, Fox recently got bought out by somebody else. So, and they're putting, what, Donna Brazile over there after they removed Judge Jeanine? What sort of silliness is that? Just remember, there's a common hand behind these shootings. I'd almost bet on it. They're trying to silence any kind of dissenting voice, and they're trying to arrange to put that plantation on a national scale and keep themselves in power into perpetuity. Remember that. Your vote doesn't matter to them. Your vote doesn't matter to them. You don't matter to them. Your life doesn't matter to the Democrats. They don't care about your health. They don't care about your future. They don't care about your kids' future. All they care about is them. They tell you we don't need a wall, but they live behind walls. They tell us we don't need guns, but they have armed bodyguards. They tell us not to do things that they themselves are doing. Like eating meat or driving cars or flying around in airplanes. They are telling us not to do the things that they are doing. They are trying to establish themselves as an aristocracy, in direct opposition to everything this country was founded upon. So, and they're using accusations of racism, which frankly is a word that has no meaning for me anymore because they've used it to death. Not to say that racism doesn't exist, but it's usually against white folks anymore. Just understand, and I do hope President Trump, he said he's got some stuff that would be damaging. I think he ought to drop it now. I think he ought to have the military arrest these ringleaders of this coup. I think every one of them ought to be arrested for treason, tried for treason, put it on C-SPAN. And if guilty, they suffer a traitor's fate. That's just one man's opinion. This is Von Mad's Venom, signing off.